Welcome back to Senate Education, Wednesday, March 13th, 8:13 in the afternoon. Ms. O'Hagan.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for your patience and your willingness to join us. We really appreciate it. Um,
Of course.
and it sounds like you might, is this your week off?
Sure is.
It is. Well, then a special thank you for taking the time. Ms. O'Hagan, I don't know if you've seen some of the recent changes or worked with any of the people that have been involved, but we do have a new draft of S-120. We're happy to email to you. If you would like, I can have our committee assistant do that after your testimony. But we just like to hear generally your thoughts, your ideas, and anything you have to say.
Absolutely. I am aware there was a new draft proposed and discussed yesterday and a bit earlier. I have seen what's on the website, but I would still love a copy of the new draft in whole, so that would be perfect.
Happy to.
I kind of just have my testimony written up based off of the original bill, but I am aware of the edits and conversations that have been going on.
Great.
All
Thank you
right.
for.
Yeah. Hi, all. Thank you so much for agreeing to hear my testimony today. I'm Riley O'Hagan, a junior at UVM and a sexual harm prevention advocate. While I am on spring break right now, so excuse that I'm in my car, I'm still excited to jump at the chance to testify and continue to advocate for this bill. Last semester, I interned at the Vermont Network Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, and I was granted the opportunity to actually sit in on that Intercollegiate Sexual Harm Prevention Council and be a part of the conversations forming S-120. I'm aware the new draft of the bill has been put forth, but I'm still basing my testimony mostly on the original bill, which I strongly support. I'm a supporter of all six sections proposed in the original bill and feel the newly proposed legislation, with many sections taken out, is very telling of the lack of care and support of the issue of sexual assault by higher education. As I'm sure you've heard throughout research and testimony for this bill, before college students graduate, 25% of these students will experience sexual violence on UVM's campus. It should be noted that approximately 90% of sexual assaults still go unreported. Therefore, it's believed that the estimate of students who experience sexual violence on college campuses far exceeds 25%. The first 2 weeks of each academic year from move-in to Thanksgiving break is referred to as the red zone. This is the period in which nearly 50% of reported sexual assault incidents occur on campus. Most of these are incoming freshmen who are living alone for the first time in their life and are particularly susceptible to violence due to lack of sexual education, life experience, and their search to find friends and place in their college environment. This time is crucial for college administration to take initiative to protecting and educating their students and providing a safe living and learning experience. Issues of sexual harm on campus have been the primary focus of my work for the past year. Working alongside House Representative Barbara Rachelson, I have dedicated myself to passing S-120. I was understandably ecstatic when the bill was finally added to the agenda for February 23rd's Senate Education testimony, as the bill is a much-needed checklist for different programs and interventions directly combating sexual harm on our campus. However, during that Friday testimony, UVM expressed their disagreement with the passing of S-120. Emily McCarthy and Jennifer Papillo both spoke from the Title IX office, both spoke on behalf of all students during their testimony, claiming that the majority of students are uncomfortable with this bill and that student survivors would feel re-traumatized when provided an optional campus climate survey. I was very frustrated by these claims because as a student, I know that I am not uncomfortable with that, and many students I've talked to would also support a campus climate survey. Any opportunity to decrease sexual harm on our campus is an opportunity worth taking. The traumatization of sexual harm and violence outweighs any potential risk of harm posed by an optional survey. It is evident the UVM does not want the data exposing the full scope of sexual harm and danger on their campus published to preserve their reputation. UVM relies on that lack of data to uphold their claims denying the epidemic of sexual harm on their campus. McCarthy went on to critique the need for an advocacy coordinator position, claiming we already employ Elliot Ruggles, a sexual violence prevention educator coordinator. A single employee cannot adequately address sexual harm prevention on a campus of over 11,000 just undergraduates. Hiring additional employees with the specific task of addressing campus sexual harm and providing students the resources they need on and off campus ensures that all students are given equal opportunity, time, and space to connect with confidential campus resources, which is something that the original S120 bill would have provided. Section 3, requiring Vermont universities to enter the MOU with a community-based sexual assault advocacy program is essential for all college students to have access to. HopeWorks is who UVM uses. They're a locally based community organization designated to combat sexual violence and harm in Chittenden County. They're critically understaffed, and they do not possess the resources needed to adequately address all the instances that plague UVM's campus of sexual harm. They also suggested that UVM counseling and psychiatric services, which we refer to as CAPS, to be used as survivor support systems. These psychiatrists and therapists are not properly trained or equipped to single-handedly support students through their sexual trauma. I personally have been ignored and disregarded by every single counselor I've tried to see, and have heard similar experiences from nearly every single student I've talked to about this issue, unfortunately. Section 5 of the bill, detailing the creation of a statewide prevention training program, was cited as too restrictive and confusing. As a student at UVM, I'm a junior, so I've been there for 3 years. I have not been required to attend a single training throughout my 3 years, nor have any of my peers. After meeting with many UVM employees claiming to do this work on campus, I have found we do not provide training for all students, only certain groups of students, so I still am unaware to the plethora of training requirements UVM continues to refer to. Upon meeting with McCarthy after her testimony, the primary issues she expressed were minor linguistic issues, which I'm hoping were changed and agreed upon in the new form of this bill. As the largest university in the state, UVM seems unable to recognize their impact that their testimony has and will continue to have on the future of S120 and all sexual harm prevention legislation.
Oh, no, I thought she was paused. Or worse. Do you have a way to contact her?
I think I do have a number for her, so I am just looking that up. Yeah, do you have a specific message you want me to share other than that?
Just she's
You think
frozen.
you're frozen?
Yeah, we'd like her to hear, like to hear the best. Oh, and we lost her. So we'll know when she's back, she, yeah, right, reaches, we look. Great, thank you. Hi, can you hear us?
I'm sorry, I'm in Florida and the sun froze my phone.
No problem at all.
Okay, as the largest university in the state, UVM seems unable to recognize the impact that their testimony has and will continue to have on the future of S120, on UVM students and students around the state. UVM's inability to acknowledge this fact will continue to hinder their ability to address issues of sexual violence on our campus and will have rebounding effects on other colleges in Vermont. UVM has shown a pattern of negligence regarding sexual harm on campus. For years, throughout many eras of activism and weeks of protests, including petitions with over 10,000 signatures, UVM has pledged to protect their students. However, they have shown over and over that they prefer to treat the institution as a business and protect their reputation over the students who are supposed to be able to trust them. Students are forced to attend classes and live on the same floor as their abusers, knowing that they cannot receive the justice that they deserve from our university. Students cannot even feel safe in their own dorms due to the normalized culture of sexual assault on campus. We do not feel safe walking the streets of Burlington, nor attending sanctioned Greek life and sporting events. 7 to 8% of UVM students join Greek life, and an astonishing 20% of allegations on our campus involve and are directed towards Greek life. Underclassmen cannot rely on the residential advisors to protect them, as some of the RAs take advantage of their position of power and contribute to the problem themselves. There's a culture of sexual assault within UVM athletics, notably the highly praised UVM men's basketball team. Many students, including myself, do not feel safe attending sporting events at my own school, as so many of these athletes are known abusers. UVM has consistently made an effort to protect the athletes' reputations over the victims, discouraging many other students from reporting. Students do not feel the Title IX office is a safe space, hence the need for expanded resources from this bill. This was proven by UVM Title IX's office testimony to fight passing the bill. Not only has UVM failed to acknowledge the instrumental need for safety on campus, but they are actively taking steps backwards, such as removing the blue lights around campus meant for students to press when around campus to contact the police in times of crisis, emergencies, and danger. Lacking resources such as prevention training, advocacy coordinators, and survivor support is a factor contributing to the high dropout rates in Vermont. The toll experiencing sexual trauma takes on the mind and body is greatly detrimental, and without support, continuing education is often an impossible task. Many of the sections of the original bill were built off of demands for administration to implement from students. UVM students do not feel safe on their own campus, and the support and resources this bill will provide is crucial to improving campus culture and security. In April 2021, the UVM community created an Instagram account called Share Your Story UVM. Over 500 submissions of sexual assault were posted to this account just over 2 years. UVM found the account calling for administration to take action in their response to sexual harm epidemic on campus and merely posted the response. Anonymous accusations on social media are not helpful to anyone impacted. Since the fruition of the most recent wave of activism against this issue on our campus, UVM claims to have adhered to all of the demands put forth by students to create a safer campus culture. However, throughout many meetings, research, and analysis of institutional structures, it is clear that nothing of substance has changed. S120 is essential to protecting Vermont college students from harm. The Intercollegiate Sexual Harm Prevention Council, established through your legislature in 2021's Act 68, spent the past 2 years meticulously editing the bill and having conversations to make it the most comprehensive and impactful it could be. The bill specifically centers the voices of survivors and adheres to the 2021 demands listed in the change.org petition. Additionally, similar bills have been passed by Every Voice Coalition in 7 states thus far. Any reason institutions of higher education have used to agree with this bill demonstrates their continued lack of care for their students. UVM's choice to disagree with the implementation of the original form of S120 puts students at continued risk of harm of sexual violence on and off campus. I hope extending the idea of the council will lead to opportunity to continue the conversation about sexual assault, and in the future we can yet again discuss the parts of the bill that were redacted, such as the survey and the advocacy coordinator. The fight against campus sexual harm cannot end here. Students do not feel safe in Vermont. You do not have a copy of this yet. I've been scrambling to update it while on vacation and traveling around, but I believe I sent it over just a few minutes ago, so you should have access to it any minute now. I appreciate your willingness to finally listen to a student's perspective on this issue. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Great. Thank you, Zoe. Any questions? I not seeing any questions. Appreciate certainly you taking the time and your interest. I'll say, and I know you'll do this already, Ms. O'Hagan, and follow this work on its way to the House, where there will be more testimony, more conversations. The bill, I suspect, will be amended, and then it'll come back this way. So it's a process, and I, for one, feel as though we're taking some really good steps in this version, and we'll look forward to continuing our work with everybody involved. So thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye. Committee, anything else on this before we see a new draft tomorrow? Ms. Koenig, did you want to say anything, or you wanted to be a part of it?
No, I just wanted to hear Riley's testimony. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you again. Okay, so S-167, if we want to just keep pushing through so we wrap up, that's good. Great. Let's do it. I'm going to ask, remind me your name?
Liz.
Liz?
Yeah.
In a minute, I'm gonna have you come up and present this information. Do you mind? Are you comfortable doing it? The Holocaust Education Amendment?
Oh gosh, yeah, I can, I don't know that I'm as familiar on where you guys all are at on that right now,
Okay.
so I'm sorry.
You weren't the one who put it forward?
That was good.
I worked on a little bit on that language,
Okay.
but I wasn't the ultimate person that drafted that, so I wanna make sure that I
Sure.
don't fumble on that.
For now though, Ms. St. James, thanks for joining us back. Final point of business today is S-167. Hi, it's good to see you. And if you would just take us through some of the changes, and I think the two key points will be, we did receive some language around Holocaust education from some of the advocates, and then I think we just need to go back and have a conversation about homeschooling and maybe get close to wrapping up. So with that,
Sure, Beth St. James, Office of Legislative Counsel, and we actually haven't walked through some of this bill, so. I'll start with section 1, so you should have draft 4.1 of your strike all amendment to S-167, which is your miscellaneous bill. Section 1, is the public construction bids section, raising the threshold that requires, AOE to seek bids or school boards to seek bids if they're doing school construction from 500,000 to 2 million. It also on page 2, subsection C, current law contemplates a school district is awarding a contract to the shall be awarded to one of the 3 lowest responsible bids conforming, and I think this language changes it to selected from among the 3 or fewer, because folks aren't getting 3 bids.
right?
And that's it for the changes to that section.
Okay.
Section 2 is a change to the post-secondary schools that are accredited to operate in Vermont. And the cleanup of names that have changed or in schools that no longer exist. So College of St. Joseph, Green Mountain College, Marlborough College, and New England Culinary Institute and Southern Vermont College, and then an update to the Vermont Law and Graduate School. Page 4 is your Holocaust education section. I'm sorry. Page 4 is section 3. It's an amendment to the effective date of the oh boy, I forget which one. This is one of the school safety initiatives that you adopted last year.
Right.
And I should have made a note, apologies. Section 1480 is the emergency operations plans. So that section currently goes into effect July 1 of this year. This amendment would change that effective date to July 1, 2025.
Remind me about that.
The emergency operations plan?
Yeah, this was a request of AOE?
Yes.
Okay.
Did,
In a week's.
so we deleted the, what was section 4, the award of grants.
We deleted section 4 and the House will pick that up. Yep.
Section 4 of this draft is the Holocaust education reporting section. The dates were changed a little bit. Otherwise, no difference here. This section requires AOE to request certain information from SUs regarding whether and where Holocaust education is taught in the union-wide curriculum, and then report back to you all on the information they have collected, and include in there an explanation of how curriculum are developed.
And Ms. St. James, we did receive some language recommended language. Have you seen that?
No.
No. And I just wanted,
Go forward that, yes.
yeah, so we have it. I guess
Yes.
we just like to know what the difference is between this and what's in the bill.
And I will look that up real quick for you.
Okay, great. And
Yes,
we'll loop back to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
that sounds
That'd be
great, thank you.
Thank you.
is it on your website?
I can pass it right now.
Yes, I can forward it to you as well here.
It's in our files and I just sent it to, let you know. So, I mean, I'm just having difficulty looking quickly to see what the differences are.
So the first change is on line, so I'm looking at draft 4.1.
Thank you.
Line 13.
Mhm.
The draft it requires AOE to include Holocaust education resources that are developed in consultation with the Vermont Holocaust Memorial. The proposed language eliminates that resource requirement and includes that the request itself shall be developed in consultation with the Vermont Holocaust Memorial.
Yes, thank you.
It does not appear that there's any suggested changes to subsection B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does not appear that there's any changes, suggested changes to C. And then I see, and then they propose adding a subsection D.
Okay.
That would require AOE on or before January 1st, 2026 to provide all SUs with Holocaust education resources developed in consultation with the Vermont Holocaust Memorial. So the suggestion is to take that out of subsection A and make it a standalone requirement. And to require AOE when they're coming up with their communication to the SUs to gather this information to develop that request with the consultation of the Vermont Holocaust Memorial. So I see two substantive changes.
Ready?
Can I keep this?
Absolutely. I'm fine with the change. It doesn't seem to be, both of those seem okay with me. I'm just looking around the room to see if there's anybody who's. We're just asking the agency to consult with the Holocaust Memorial group. Or they do the correspondence and come up with a list of resources and options around education. Okay,
I will make those
thank you
changes.
very much.
First, are you ready to move on to virtual learning?
Yeah,
Okay. We're on page 5, section 5, line 6. We have walked through this language as it appeared prior, but we have not walked through anything that's been highlighted.
that's right.
And I believe, if memory serves, actually, I don't remember. I think these changes came at the suggestion of Jessica Carolus a long time ago,
Okay.
quite a while ago.
But Ms. St. James, just so I know, so yesterday's, or when we looked at virtual learning prior to this, these changes weren't in there? Or we just haven't walked through them?
This was a standalone bill,
Right,
and we walked through the bill,
yeah,
and I think you took some testimony on it.
we did,
And there was a direction to me to incorporate some edits,
great.
and then this is the first time we are looking at it since then, I believe.
I just remember this conversation about virtual learning yesterday or the day before.
I was not here for that, so I don't know what you spoke about.
Do you remember, Senator Sheen? Because you raised a bunch of questions. Oh, perhaps it was the secretary. That's right, the secretary. Thank you. Please.
Okay. So this is, so section 5 is adding a new statute to Title 16 in the flexible pathways list of initiatives. So remember, flexible pathways contains a bunch of different options for students.
Yep.
Virtual learning is a component of the it's an option. It does not have a standalone statute like dual enrollment or the other programs. So this is adding that standalone statute. So the Agency of Education shall maintain access to and oversight of a virtual learning provider for the purpose of offering virtual learning opportunities to Vermont students. A student may enroll in virtual learning if the student is enrolled in a Vermont public school, including a Vermont Career Technical Center. Virtual learning is determined to be an appropriate learning pathway outlined in the student's personalized learning plans. And the student's learning experience occurs under the supervision of an appropriately licensed educator and aligned with the state expectations and standards as adopted by the agency and the State Board of Education as applicable. The Agency of Education shall adopt rules pursuant to Chapter 25 to implement this section. A school district shall count a student enrolled in virtual learning in the school district's average daily membership. And then section 6 is new to you all. It's amending the definition of virtual learning in that same place in Title 16. So the flexible pathways subchapter has definition section, which is section 942. And virtual learning is currently defined through all that struck language. And there's been a proposal to update that definition to an intentionally designed learning environment for online teaching and learning using online design principles and teachers trained in the delivery of online instruction. This instruction can take place either in a self-paced environment or a real-time environment.
So when the secretary took us through this, I thought this was opening up like a huge can of worms and problems. And I personally feel in that walkthrough in this language that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, and feel free to disagree, this is giving the agency a little more control over who's involved with virtual learning and just using it as part of flexible pathways, which it already is part of flexible pathways, okay, too. I think what I was concerned about was all of a sudden we'd be shifting a bunch of kids to their bedrooms, taking 7 classes. But this is still involving teachers, involving flexible pathways, people sign off on it. This could be the kid taking physics, could be the kid taking foreign language, one class here and there, or for whatever reasons, it could involve a more intensive virtual learning experience. And
Thank you. The semicolon in this list, does that mean and or neither?
Where are you? You give me a line.
Yeah, sorry, page 5, a student may enroll in virtual learning if, and then there's 1, 2, 3.
Yep, and then on line 15, there's an and.
Right, but there's no and after 13, it's just assumed. that-
It's a list, so for lists, we only do the conjunction at the very end.
Okay, great. So, and my, only comment, and it's not something we need to even contemplate right now, but I'm just wondering if we maintain this committee into the future. I'm curious about the personalized learning plan, if how much that's used and if it's actually a tool that people reference to make decisions. 'Cause I know when I was working in education, that personalized learning plan was just a real loosey-goosey, piece of paper the kids wrote on, and then maybe we actually put it on some virtual site at some point, but it didn't seem like it was a very powerful document. So I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
that's changed over time.
It's a great question because I know when we passed it, and I was in the legislature when it came about, the hope was that it was going to be these, like a real conversation, teachers, guidance counselors, everybody involved. Come up with a plan. What is it that you want to learn? What are some of your ambitions? How might you integrate what's happening outside of the classroom through an internship? I think in some situations, it has become a checkoff. Whereas in some schools, I do think I remember visiting our middle school in Bennington a number of years ago. And I was really impressed by the personalized learning plans that students were putting together. So,
I
yeah.
just generally found it very difficult to get a 14 or 15-year-old to think seriously about their future. And their,
career.
really, so many of them are just not in that headspace, as we've talked about, in health and welfare and brain, frontal lobe development. So I think it's a great idea. I love the idea of it. I just found in practice it was really difficult to work with.
And if this committee or some version of it, I think when you're talking about committee, you're talking about all of us being together next year. Yeah. I'm totally open to that conversation around whether or not you require it, make it more optional,
Right.
all that stuff. Because I agree with you. We don't want it to be, did this, did that. And also, I don't think teachers have, time right now to have these really super deep conversations. Become, in addition to teaching, career paths.
Some kids are ready to do it.
Yeah.
It's probably the minority, say.
But one of the things that's great about it, if we were to make it optional and you had it, because they've been on the books, I think about 10 years now.
Yeah, right,
The right kid, it's great,
right.
but not require it. Like the kid that might want to do one course of CT, one online, do get some credits through an internship, all that stuff could keep a kid in school and just give some options. Yeah, Senator Williams.
Well, I'm just thinking about, I think it's even the term is more applicable to the CTE.
Personalized learning
Right,
plans.
I mean, if you get, hands-on experience, you can get credit for it. So. It's still part of it.
And I think what Senator Gulick is talking about in some schools, and I get it, it's just really hard. And so if we're forcing people to do it rather than make it optional, sometimes you get sort of the checkoff sheet that does things and not that deep. So we can look at that in the future. Okay, Ms. St. James, we'll talk about homeschooling. Okay. So there. Senator Sheen, you first brought this to us. Well, no, I don't want to be in this spot. I think we were all looking at it. What's that?
It was.
It wasn't.
I had my share.
Yeah, we all had, yes, some stuff around school, right? So, how are you feeling about this language?
My main request, anything, is to really just have the hearings after enrollment be put back in. I think that makes sense. I don't think it, tips the apple cart or flips over the apple cart or anything like that. And it's, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's.
Dr. Dunlap, what do you think of that?
But that's not what's in draft 4.
We know,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, I mean, I had Morgan email you all the language so you could see it. That's fine. There are a few strikeouts in it because they're talking about the sentences I struck.
Yeah.
Talking about the hearings before enrollments. So when you put it in, you're gonna have to remove a couple sentences. So it's just hearings after enrollment, which is, it's quite stringent to go through one of those hearings.
Ms. St. James, did I email you something?
No.
No, I can't remember what I forwarded. So what would the language look like then if we are going to make sure that the key piece is that we will have hearings after enrollment?
So you would strike subsection, you can
Yeah.
get rid of it. You would keep F on page 7.
Okay,
And then I would make conforming amendments anytime this language under G, notice and procedure, is talking about a hearing prior to it. So the notice and procedure would apply to both pre and post. So I would just amend that language to make it clear that it's just applying to the hearing after enrollment. And then the same, if there's any language that needs to be cleaned up in H, which is the order as well.
Sounds pretty good. I would like to see it in writing.
Yeah, no, of course, we'll see it in writing. And,
Is that what we're doing?
I think that I'm looking, we've got some agreement here between Senator Sheen, Ms. Dunlap. Yep, I think that'll be great. And then we'll, think other than that, in the Holocaust Ed, if we can see a clean copy tomorrow, it's listed as a possible vote, but we'll see if we get there. For sure, I think we're ready to go 284 and 120 and, maybe 304 and 167. Ambitious.
This is the library bill amendment. Did you? Questions?
No, 1 second. Ms. St. James, am I going too quickly?
No.
No, okay, good. All right, so we're okay. Ms. Dunlap.
When would this draft be ready for me to see it?
Well, it's up to the Ledge Council, it has,
I'm going to do that right now, but I would, without specific direction, it wouldn't be public until it's posted.
if you don't mind emailing this, if you email me, I'll email Ms. Dunlap, the info, just say that.
Remember, tomorrow I have surgeries.
That's right.
I need,
Well,
I wanna see it before I okay it.
Yeah.
I'm attorney, otherwise.
Just so that we're all on the same, just so that we're all being realistic, I do have to send this through editing.
No problem at all.
So I'm going to make the changes now, but we may not have a draft back until tomorrow.
That's completely fine.
By tomorrow afternoon, I should be conscious of
Yeah,
that.
and
That's fine.
we'll all take a look at it and see if it's okay with the committee.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
No, I don't know, do you wanna take strips now? Or do you wanna,
I mean, I looked at it, I think it's fine, and you're gonna, do you do the amendment yourself on the bill, or did someone else in the committee do the amendment? How's that work?
either way is
How's that
fine.
Theater work.
We can talk about the theater,
Okay.
but why don't we'll just put this on the agenda for tomorrow?
Okay.
Take us through it. In the meantime, we'll just send it
Unless
to
I'm
the,
home with norovirus.
yeah,
So, can we get those sheets for the court? So we can do.
we'll get this for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep, Morgan will give us the sheets and everything and everything. We've got a great committee assistant, not as good as Morgan, in to help us.
Talking about Ben,
And
because he is the best committee assistant. No offense, Warren.
Hey,
yeah,
He's my morning assistant. I just.
so, yeah, we'll just go through this one.
Can you explain how the theater works?
Yeah, sure. So, I think, on when this is up, when the library bill is on the floor, which is likely up Wednesday, I'll get up, take everybody through it. And then I'm happy to add the amendment,
You can propose your own amendment, okay?
the committee amendment.
Yeah.
Yep, and then we'll all, take a vote by then.
Okay.
And, if you're comfortable with that.
Sure.
Yeah, and then, but we all have to look at this and we'll have a conversation about it tomorrow.
Great. It
And-
just aligns the schools with Publix on their selection policy.
We'll dig into it a little bit.
Got it.
Great. St. James, thank you. Thanks,